Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to LEN Live Chat. Just to be on the safe side, hello. And it's Lynn here from the Learn English Network. Been a 2-week break. I did hope to get a recording done last week, but time has run away with me as ever. So I hope you didn't miss me too much. Don't worry, we're going to do a catch-up today. And we'll start 14 days ago, 2 weeks, a fortnight, all the same thing, with Harry. And Harry said, hi, can I join to speaking English? Okay, Harry. Hi, capital H, and then put in a comma, new sentence, capital C, can I, capital I, join you? And then a question mark. Okay, can I join to speaking English? This is really live chat, so text chat. Speaking English, you'd have to come and join us on the forum and then come and join us in Skype. Or you could come and join us on the forum and then come and join us in Second Life or Kitely. Or you could come and join us on the forum and come and join a Join Me. We did a Join Me yesterday, so it was fun. I like pushing computers to see what they can do. Okay, so you're welcome, but live chat is text chat. And I wrote, hi Harry, anyone can join our sessions, but you'll need to follow the instructions. We run sessions on several platforms. The best thing is to find the one that suits you. The best thing is to find the one that suits you best, or just join in all of them. And I gave you the link there, Harry, to how these sessions run. Harry then asked, how do I improve my communication skill? Okay, well, communication requires more than one skill. So you'd say, how with a capital H, do I with a capital I improve my communication skills? Question mark. And Zeb replied, hi Harry, the more I interact with people in English, the easier it gets. Yes, that's simple. And I just gave you the link to how to improve your English. Okay, it's all on the web, it's all on the network. And then I actually started a topic, woohoo, and I wrote, okay, this one is for Zeb. What do you do when you can't sleep? And the reason was because I had definitely caught her typing in chat at 4 o'clock in the morning. Zeb then said, I just start the day as normal and expand my morning time, usually dedicated to my hobbies. A problem when it happens is that I usually arrive late at the office because I lose the notion of time. What about you guys? What do you do when you wake up many hours before the alarm clock goes off? Do you get up or try to go back to sleep? So do you get up, comma, or try to go back to sleep? And I replied, if I think I have any chance of getting back to sleep, I switch on the radio for a bit. If I feel quite awake, I might pick up my book and read for a bit. If I'm wide awake, I usually drag the duvet downstairs, make a cup of tea and switch on the TV. It's very rare that I'll switch on my computer because then I'll probably start working and then I'll never get back to sleep. And that's very true. If I switch on this computer, that's me wide awake and I'll probably even make a coffee. So Zeb then said, suddenly I feel like I have an advantage not working from home. I think you're right. Most of the time, she said, what wakes me up is an idea or a thought about something that is challenging me. Long time ago, it used to be Kirsty's riddles. So a long time ago, not long time ago, a long time ago, it used to be Kirsty's riddles. Yesterday, it was the ongoing conversation with the Japanese learner about the language of the devil. Okay, Japanese, capital J, and then it's Apanese. He pointed out a few articles that didn't seem to be related with each other, and suddenly I got an idea. So that would be, he pointed out a few articles that didn't seem to be related to each other, and suddenly I got an idea. This woke me up, and I switched the computer on. Bing! I get you. Wow, I said, that's not something I've ever Googled before, and the results are interesting, LOL. And what I Googled was the language of the devil. And then I said, P.S., do you know what toy he, she, it plays with? And I pointed to a link about the devil's toys. It's tongue-in-cheek, this, okay? Nothing to do with religion, don't get upset. And then Zeb said, the Grim Reaper? Very possibly, Zeb, very possibly. Then Karen Gupta came along and said, hey, I can't figure it out how to join live chat spoken. Is there any suggested timing? I feel like speaking to someone. Oh, sweet. So, Karen, hey is a bit over the top. So hi is better, or hello, or good morning, or good evening, or good afternoon, whichever time it is. Hey is more, hey you, come over here now, I want to talk with you. It's a bit abrupt. So then I is always capital I. Can't is a contracted form, so you need an apostrophe somewhere in there. It's short for cannot. So you'd put the apostrophe between the N and the T to show that there are missing letters. So it'd be C-A-N apostrophe T. So I can't figure it out. How can I join live chat spoken? Okay, well, this live chat is text. Okay, the spoken sessions that we do, they're all on the calendar. Is there any suggested timing? Okay. Do you have any suggestions for timing, maybe? Or are there any fixed times? Might be what you wanted to say. Well, live chat, again, text chat, is today at 10 o'clock, which will be in about half an hour. And then I, capital I, feel like speaking to someone. Actually, it's better to say I feel like speaking with someone. To someone is more, I'm talking at you now and you can't really reply to me. But when you speak with someone, it's more sort of inclusive. So in the future, say, oh, I fancy speaking with someone. Okay. Then Zeb replied, hi, Karen. If you want to find out about voice sessions, here's the calendar of events run by the LE network. And she gave you the link to the calendar. Rabia Ouassaoui, oh, I'm sorry if I've messed that one up, Rabia, said, hi, Cara. Even me, I signed in for the same purpose, but I still don't know how to join the spoken conversation. Wow, it's a long sentence. So, even me, and hi, Karen. Okay, first of all, don't shout. Don't write all in capitals. So you'd say, hi, Cara. I signed in for the same purpose too, and then a comma, and then again, not all capitals, so this would be a small b-u-t, but I still don't know how to join a spoken conversation session. Again, well, now you do, guys. Zeb then said, hi, guys, it's about text chatting here. Rabia, it would be great if you could avoid using capital letters in your messages. Well, no, don't avoid using capital letters. Use them properly. Don't use all capital letters. And I wrote back to Zeb and I said, hi Zeb, did you hear about this story? Even the US Navy has moved away from all caps, and it's a couple of links to how writing in capitals is perceived as being rude and is perceived as shouting on the internet. It's purely about etiquette. And it really can be quite shocking for people just to read it like that. They're like, oh, and they might stop reading. That's the problem. And then you'll lose out on a good conversation. Karen then said, dear teacher, please guide me how to drop a puffed message for you. I think you meant a private message to you. And I said, you can send private messages on the forum. Yeah, it's not possible to send a private message using Discuss. And I don't use emails because people abuse the privilege of having my email address. I hate spam, I really do. And I'm not keen on trolls either, so I tend to keep it on the forum. Zeb then said, replying to my link to the stories, when people shout at me, I usually can't hear and understand anything. Okay, so you'd say, I usually can't hear or understand anything. I just wait until the noise is over. Messages in capital letters, I do read them. The effect is twice as awful as hearing people really shouting. As I say, it can be quite uncomfortable for people. I'm not sure if it was always that way or if it's just become that way as we've started using the internet more. I mean, I think when you used to get sort of teletext and telegrams, I think they were always capitalised, but I don't know. I can't remember. I'd never got many telegrams, I'll be honest. I said, it really upsets me too when people shout, whether it's at me or at each other. If it's possible, I tend to walk away. And Zeb replied, shouting is a weird thing because most of the time the distance between people shouting at each other is just a few centimetres. Karen then wrote to Zeb how to drop a puffed message, and Zeb replied quite correctly, I don't think Discuss has got this sort of feature. Karen then said, then how would I send my Skype details to teacher? So Karen, capital T to start your sentence, and capital I, and capital S for Skype, okay, because it's a proper noun, it's the name of a company, okay. So don't give up on capitals altogether, just learn to use them correctly. Zeb then said, I thought I already gave you the link to the how-to for taking part in the Skype sessions run by the network. and so your teacher. Anyway, I'll give it to you again. Read carefully. All the information you need is there. So you say, read it carefully, yeah? No offence, said Karen, but how is this site supposed to beat odds? I mean, there are many other sites offering a textual activity than what's distinctive here. So, Karen, no offence, comma, but how is this site, not this site, THIS, supposed to beat the odds? Supposed to help me, maybe is what you meant. I mean, capital I, there are many other sites offering a textual activity. So you'd say offering textual activity or offering text activity. So, rather than then, what's, and again, it's a contracted form for what is, so you'd have WHAT'(S), distinctive here. And I replied, we aren't trying to beat the odds, Karen. We just do what we do. Oh, I'm sorry. I just realised I misspelt your name. That's the problem with knowing somebody called Karen, and your name is Karen, so I will now edit it. Save edit. I love it here, said Zeb, because Lynn reads out loud and corrects our messages, which is what I'm doing now. It's the recording at the top of the page. I've never seen this feature anywhere else. And I replied, I don't think anyone else is daft enough to do it. That's your trademark, said Zeb. What, being daft? Thank you. You could call it my USP, which stands for unique selling point, but then as I don't sell anything, it wouldn't actually work. UGP or UGAP, unique giveaway point? I don't know. Rabia came along and shouted, "Hi, how can I join you? Question, question, question." Okay, stop using all capitals, Rabia. And Zeb said, "Hi, join me where? On this page? You've already done it. Quite right." And Karen, obviously going for a perseverance badge, said, "Hey, let's chat. How to add you people on Skype." So, again, let's is a contracted form for let us, so you need an apostrophe, LET'(S), and then you'd say, rather than how to add you people on Skype, again, Skype with a capital S, how can I add you on Skype? Okay. Zeb replied, I prefer group activities for speaking. What about you? Do you prefer one-on-one communication or group activities? Karen then said, I prefer one-on-one, then group. So, capital I, and don't forget full stop at the end of a sentence. Karen, said Zeb, you say that you prefer one-on-one communication, but you also want to share your Skype ID with Lynn, aka your teacher. I think you need to know that Lynn runs only group activities. Absolutely. Better way to say that, though, Zeb, would be, I think you need to know that Lynn only runs group activities. Runs only group activities, you put the only on group then, but the only is on what I run, so she only runs group activities. I find it really hard when you learn a language to keep the conversation going on one-on-one. In a group, there's more chance that someone else will speak, which gives you time to prepare what you want to say next. Don't you think so? And then she also said, if you want to take part in the Skype sessions run by the network, you have first to be a member of the forum. Okay, you have to be a member of the forum first. Here's all you need to know, blah, blah, blah. Hope it helps. Yeah, and with the link. And then Zeb came along and said, hello there, have you heard of lyrics training? It's a bit like a karaoke game where you have to write lyrics of songs. Not all the lyrics, but random words. If you want to check it out, here's the link. And it's a link to a website called lyricstraining.com. Amit came along. Nobody responded to that one, Zeb. I'm not sure why, I was away, so sorry about that. Hamid came along and said, hi guys. And I said, hi Amit, what about us gals? Okay, hi guys. Then you need a full stop, Amit. And Amit said, good and sensitive. I am not wrong. You talking about US girls? No, I mean, the people who aren't guys. Guys is normally sort of men, but it can cover women as well. But if you've ever watched the musical, Guys and Dolls, best not to come in and say hi, dolls. So, Amit, you'd say good with a capital G and sensitive. If I'm not wrong, you are talking about US girls, and then the girls would be small g and then full stop. Or, hi Lynn, you mean US girls? Looks like it, said Zeb. And no, I meant no. Listen to the recording. Okay. So, I just meant, I'm not a guy, I'm a gal. Amit then said, "Hi Zeb, are you there? AreyoU, there," and then a question mark because it's a question. Are you there, Zeb? Were you there, Zeb? And I would capitalise Zeb, even though she doesn't. I would capitalise it because it's her name and it's good getting to the practice. And hi should be capital H but a small I. So, hi Amit, said Zeb. I'm more often connected during my mornings. Nice avatar. Are you a graphics designer? Or are you a graphic designer? I'd say graphics designer, but graphic designer's probably fine too. Then, oh yes, we got on to bot voice. The bot voice files, I'll call this. Has anyone had a go at listening to bot voice in the English magazine, asked Zeb. Bot voice is the name I gave to the new feature or tool which reads any article in the English magazine. I did it with News Roundup 92. I played the article both with bot voice and Amatsu's recording. Fun. My favourite reader remains Amatsu. Okay, basically I'd say Amatsu is still my favourite reader, or Amatsu remains my favourite reader. She's got more talent as a narrator than bot voice. But bot voice, you've got potential. The funny part is that listening to bot voice the first couple of times is like tuning your ear to a new musical voice. Bot voice has its own internal metronome, its own beatbox reading style. That's quite disturbing. First, like, gosh, what's going on with my listening ability? Okay, you'd say that's quite disturbing at first. Yeah? And then like, gosh, what's going on with my listening ability? I think I've tuned to its speaking style now. Also, bot voice, I think that you have more skills than LEN to make us understand that punctuation is important. Yeah, I wouldn't say more skills than LEN. I'd say I think you're better than LEN at making us understand that punctuation is important. Has anyone noticed how bot voice is running into the next piece of news because there's no blank line in between them? It also runs into the next word if a comma or any other punctuation mark is missing. The listening is especially tricky in sentences with the that word, whether there is or not a comma before it, and with the use of the hyphen and bracket signs in the text. That's very true. I think bot voice is a great add-on to the magazine. It really helps to discover and get the right pronunciation of words. I think so, and what you should also understand about bot voice, the app, is you can highlight a word or parts of a sentence and it will play just that bit. So if there's a word you're struggling with or a phrase you're struggling with, just highlight it and you'll get another little play button and you can play that part of the sentence. So Amatsu replied and said, "Glad to hear I've not been replaced just yet." Zeb said to Amatsu, "Let's face it, bots will replace people in a lot of jobs, but I don't worry for you, Amatsu. You seem to have high skill level in reading and narrating." She does, doesn't she? She's very good. She won't believe me that she's good, but she does. She is. Bot voice, Aladdin said. Did you imagine this picture when you call bot voice? Bot voice. Okay. When you called, okay. Do you imagine this picture when you call bot voice, or did you imagine this picture when you called bot voice? And Aladdin gave a link to a picture, and I replied, "Oh, he's cute." Zeb replied, "No, I didn't know that bot voice could be more than a voice. I like what it looks like. I want one. Will you buy me one?" Aladdin said, "Indeed, I will. Just send your address." Zeb then replied, "Easy, mate. Next time we're in Kitely, it can be done." And I replied to Zeb earlier as well. Bot voice, I like it. Bot voice 0, Amatsu 1. I'm sure Amatsu will be relieved. I remember the first time we tried voice reader software on the magazine. It was really clunky. Bot voice is a vast improvement on that first mangled pronunciation, but humans still win hands down. Zeb then said, "Do you think that one day there will be live chatbot here? It will write its own messages in these live chat small talk." Okay, I think I'd say in these live chat small talk topics, okay. I think they had got something like that in Twitter. It was horse ebooks. It was created for spamming, but it could be for any other purpose. Hey, I'm not having a spamming bot. No way. I fight spamming all the time. I don't need a bot to do it for me. Sunil came along and said hi. Oh, in reply to your question, Zeb, I have no idea, but I wouldn't hold my breath, okay? I think we'll still have to keep typing our own messages. I think you can tell when it's a bot, but hey, artificial intelligence is coming along in leaps and bounds, so who knows? I'll never say never. Anyhow, Sunil came along and said hi, and I said hi, and Sunil then said, anyone there? And so anyone there would have a question mark. Okay, you need a question mark in there because it's a question. And because you're asking if there's any person here or there, you would use one word. So capital A, N-Y-O-N-E, one word. Any one of us could reply to your question. So that would be two separate words. There's a difference. Anyone versus anyone, okay? And Zeb said, hi, Sunil. Yes, I'm connected. Sunil never got back to us. Simon came along and said, hi. Anyone there? And Simon, well done. You wrote it as one word. I wrote, hi, Simon. I was just headed to the land of Nod because you wrote quite late. And Zeb caught on that and said, the phrase finder says, we now usually think of the land of Nod as a mythical place where we go to when we sleep. Nod was indeed a mythical location, but it was originally a place of anguished exile rather than of peaceful sleep. A place of anguished exile. I don't know if I want to go to bed now. And she said, I'm still connected. How are you, Simon? But Simon never got back to us. Hamza came along and said, is anyone here? Hamza, capital I, and one question mark. Okay. Oh, Simon, don't forget your question marks. Nice to meet you, Hamza, said Zeb. So we've got a bit of scrolling to do because Hamza never got back to us. And our next contact was from Natalie. Natalie said, hello, is anybody here? And see, anybody or anyone? One word. Hi, Natalie, said Zeb. Have you had a nice day? And there was a strange reply from Natalie saying, I'm sorry for excessive sentimentality, but I missed you. That's really sweet. I wouldn't say I'm sorry for excessive sentimentality because you haven't actually been excessively sentimental yet. So maybe say, I'm sorry if this is excessively sentimental, comma, but I missed you. Full stop. Don't forget your full stop. And she then said, yes, my day is good. And what about you? So Zeb then said, which I think says everything, I'm looking forward to tomorrow with a winky smiley. Why? Said Natalie. Why? Asked Natalie. Friday and so the weekend, a 3-day weekend. And Natalie replied, yes, we will have a lot of rest. So yes with a capital Y and then a full stop at the end, Natalie. You'll celebrate Easter? Asked Zeb. I will, but I don't plan anything big, said Natalie. And again, full stop at the end of your sentence, Natalie. Zeb replied, neither do I. I'll just eat more chocolate than usual. What chocolate do you prefer, black or milk chocolate? Any other food? Asked Natalie. So any other capital A, okay? No, said Zeb. I usually spend this time of the year with my brothers at my mum's place, but not this year. So there will be no special food, just what I'll cook for myself. Natalie said, I will cook by myself too. And again, full stop at the end. You're missing all your endings off. And that would be so many points lost in a test, wouldn't it? Do you enjoy cooking? Asked Zeb. Not very much, said Natalie, but I do it always. And you? Okay, so not very much, but I always do it. And you? And you got your punctuation spot on there, Natalie. Well done. Have you noticed, said Zeb, who's getting a bit like me, you know, very pedantic, you never end your sentences with a full stop. Is there any reason? Natalie said, I live in a city where everybody does it. Still, I did not notice this. Okay, Natalie, you'd say, I live in a city where everybody does it, but I hadn't noticed this. Full stop. Actually, I didn't pay attention to it when we first met, but Lynn pointed it out in the recording. And then, which recording? Asked Natalie. I think you'll like this. Once a week on Tuesdays, Lynn records herself reading and correcting our messages. You can listen to our previous conversation and hear what mistakes you made. Natalie said, is the recording just on this page? So capital I, Natalie. Yes, said Zeb. Last week conversation is at the top of the page. So it would be yes, last week's conversation. So WEEK apostrophe S, because it's the conversation belonging to last week. You can download the recording or play it. Have a listen and tell me what you think afterwards. I'll switch off the computer now. Hope we'll be in touch again. Bye. And Natalie replied, bye. And then a bit later, Zeb said to Natalie, oh, I think this is actually, again, it's gone a little bit awry, but I think Natalie was asking about food, and Zeb said, I like cooking, but not if I have to do it every day. I'm looking forward to July. I should have a cook at home then. He's not a great cook, but I'll not have to worry about shopping and what to eat. Natalie said, he's not a great cook. Whom do you mean here? I'd say, who are you talking about? Yeah, who are you talking about? Every year I have a visitor who comes to France, said Zeb, to practice his French. During his stay he lives at my place, and in exchange he does the housework and cooking. How does it sound like? Okay, how does that sound? It would be better. What does it sound like? It sounds like a bird singing. How does that sound is more, what's your opinion on that? Okay? Natalie then said, like a slave. I quite agree, Natalie. I'm getting quite worried about, maybe I should do that. Hey, everybody, when I'm correcting your English, I expect an hour's cleaning, okay? And somebody can go and do the front garden as well. So Natalie said, like a slave. Again, Natalie, full stop. When I visit his country, I'm the cook. Fair enough? Okay, that sounds okay. Zeb, said Natalie, it was a joke. Full stop. Lol, really? Said Zeb. I'll log off now. Bye-bye. See you, said Natalie. And then Natalie also said, does he come only to practice French or some other reasons? That's very personal. Zeb then said, Paris is its base for discovering the French culture and exploring Europe. He thinks that mixing with locals is best for that. And Natalie said, I agree with your visitor. I totally agree too, Natalie. I really do. That was a good conversation. I didn't interrupt because I would have probably spoiled it by saying, is he couch surfing? And but maybe, hey, Amatsu, if you're listening to this, maybe you should contact Zeb and say, she's a very good cook, Amatsu. So maybe you could do a bit, not such a good cleaner, but a really good cook. Anyhow, Sarah came along and I think replying to a very, very much earlier conversation, but she wrote, sometimes it's good to wake up early. And I think that was in reply to Zeb, what do you do if you wake up early? So Zeb asked Sarah, do you often wake up early, Sarah? And Sarah replied, yes, unless I have a special task. Regardless, I go to bed quite late. Today I woke up at 5 a.m. but fell asleep at 8 a.m. again. Okay. So you could say I woke up at 5 a.m., but fell asleep at 8 a.m. again. Being able to catnap any time during the day sounds very good to me, said Zeb. For how long did you sleep again after your early start of the day? And I'd be tempted to say, how long did you sleep for after your early start of the day? Sarah said, I can't sleep during the day. Even power nap is not my cup of tea. So you'd say, even a power nap is not my cup of tea. I slept for 4 hours after I went to bed at 8 a.m. It's now 4:33 a.m. here. So it is now and small n for now, okay? Then she went on, I'm finally going to bed after a hectic day, or maybe half day. If I'm not in bed by 2 a.m, said Zeb, I usually prefer not to sleep at all. I then catch up with sleeping hours going to bed early the next day. I like it when I'm able to take a nap during the day, but they rarely go over 30 to 40 minutes. I'm not going to say anything here, Zeb, about taking a nap during the day being a sign of old age. I am not going to say anything about it. Okay, then she carried on. They're just to charge my batteries again. With your sleeping rhythm, it might be tough to be in sync with other people sometimes. You seem to sleep while they're awake and vice versa. And she then said, Natalie, what made you change your avatar from a swan to a manga character? Is it a manga character? Natalie hasn't got back to her on that. So then we'll scroll up again, and Nicola, 22, came along and said, I start to think in anything. Now, I think this is a response to Zeb's question about what do you do when you can't sleep, okay? Again, try to click on reply to questions like that because then it flows, but never mind, we'll catch up with you eventually. And Nicola, it would be, I start to think of anything, and then full stop. Hi, Nicola, said Zeb, what are the things you start to think of? Nicola said, for example, if I'm very anxious before an exam, I start to think if I know everything. So if I'm very anxious before an exam, because it's an E, it's a vowel sound, so the article becomes an. What are you doing? Asked Nicola. Zeb replied, I was learning how to give orders in Spanish when I noticed your message here. Do you have an exam soon? Orders? Asked Nicola. In a few weeks, I will have final exams. Okay, I'd say in a few weeks, I'll be taking my final exams. Full stop. Zeb then said the imperative tense. After your final exams, will you be on holidays? We wouldn't say on holidays. Will you be on holiday? Will you go on holiday? Will you take a break? But not holidays, okay? Nicola said, yes, but only 1 week. Then I will start a summer course. Is my last year at college. Okay, summer is always a small s. The seasons are always written with a small first letter, okay? Only the months, days are written with a capital letter. So, and then it is my last year at college. Zeb then said, that's a very short break. What will this summer course be about? And Nicola replied, yes, I know. And then that would be a full stop, Nicola, because you're saying that's a very short break. Yes, I know. And then you're answering the question. So it would be a capital T. The name of the course is Democracy and Citizenship. Now I'm doing homework about project management. Why are you learning Spanish? And Zeb replied, you sound like you want to become a politician. I like learning languages, she said. I selected Spanish because I hope to visit South America one day. Really? Said Nicola. No, I don't. I'm studying an engineering. Okay, so you'd say I'm studying engineering or I'm on an engineering course. I think it's because you're studying something to do with politics. Democracy. Oh, yeah, democracy and citizenship. That sounds politics. But your project management is probably more to do with engineering, yes. Where are you going? Asked Nicola. Where am I going to? Said Zeb. Now, nowhere. But soon I'll have to head to my workplace. I know nothing about engineering. What does it mean to be an engineer? And I think she meant, where are you going to in South America? It's a big place, you know, Zeb. Oh, yeah. And Nicola replied, I mean, if you're going to a specific place in South America, because I'm from Ecuador. Okay, and again, after South America, a comma, and then because I'm from Ecuador. An engineer is a person that likes to find out how the things work and likes mathematics and physics. So, an engineer is a person who likes to find out how things work and likes mathematics and physics. Full stop. I have no fixed plan yet, said Zeb. My idea is to learn about the different countries while I'm learning Spanish. I also have to do some homework to get to know where I'd be able to get into short-term jobs to pay for my stay while I'm in South America. Someone told me, for example, that school assistants in French are in demand in Mexico. So I think assistants, assistants. How often do you travel, Zeb? Asked Sarah. How many countries have you been to and stayed there for a long time? I have some friends who love to take gap years, months, and spend some time in Asia. They generally find some really good work and friends during their expedition. And Zeb replied, I woke up quite late to travelling, so I'm not that well travelled. What I like is to take immersion breaks to get a chance to interact and live with the locals, but it means that it can't be that frequent. I stayed in Australia, QOD, NSW, for 1 year and travelled around Europe for another one, mainly around the UK and Nordic countries. So I think you mean Queensland and NSW, New South Wales? Yeah, New South Wales. I just had a mind blank there. Again, then she carried on. Hopefully in a couple of years, I'll be ready to take another long break to visit South America. In the meantime, I'll probably make frequent short breaks in Spain to develop my Spanish skills and to get to know that country. So, probably take frequent short breaks. Make frequent short breaks. We don't make a break, we take a break. Have a break, you could also say. Have a break, have a Kit Kat. Make, do, have, take. Oh, they're really fun, they are. And then Zeb asked, have you ever taken a gap year, Sarah? Sarah said yes. Unfortunately, it was far from travelling. I had other reasons for that. I wish I could travel to an unknown country. It must be fun. What country would you like to go to if it were possible? Asked Zeb. Sarah said, I'd love to go to Norway first and then travel across Europe. Which country is on the top of your wish list? Not a country, said Zeb, but the Latino world. It's on my bucket list. Nicola jumped into the conversation then and said, I'm studying in Mexico. I'm not sure about the school assistants, but you can search on the web. There are a lot of jobs you can get. So again, commas. I'm not sure about the school assistants, comma, but you can search on the web, comma, there are lots of jobs you can get. I have friends of different countries and the words change a lot from one country to another, so you have to be careful with that. The words change. Okay. I'd say I have friends from different countries, and then comma. I'm not sure what you mean by and the words change a lot from one country to another, comma. Maybe you mean in Spanish, because I know Spanish is spoken across the world, and yes, the vocabulary changes just like English. So you have to be careful about that. And careful, believe it or not, is just one L at the end. Okay, you have to be careful about something. So I'll get in touch with the embassy of the different Latino countries in France. So I'll get in touch with the embassy, EMBASSY. I think it'll give me a better idea of the different options and opportunities. Have you ever thought of taking a gap year or studying in a non-Spanish speaking country? Spanish with a capital S. Nicholas said yes, but it's very expensive. So yes, comma, but it is very expensive. For example, in my country, Ecuador, you can travel with $50 in your pocket, including transport and hotel for 3 days. I'm not a big fan of hotels when I travel, said Zeb. When possible, I prefer to live at people's place. Okay. I prefer to live with other people. Okay. Or live at someone's place. Is it usual for locals to rent rooms for travellers in Ecuador? And Nicholas said, it's not easy to find one, but there are some locals that rent rooms. So again, comma, between one and but. Also, if you go to Montanita, you can camp on the beach. Full stop, Nicola. Bummer, said Zeb. I like to be at people's places. Okay. Bummer, I prefer to stay with other people. As for Montanita, is it wild camping or there are amenities for having a shower, go to the loo, have a barbecue? So, is it wild camping or are there amenities for having a shower, going to the loo and having a barbecue? Is wild camping, said Nicola. So you'd say there, it is wild camping. But I think a lot of the locals rent the shower or something like that. But I think a lot of the locals rent out a shower or something like that. Nicola, Zeb then said, Nicola, I have to log off now. Have a good night. Good. So does sound like you have to rough it a bit if you go there, Zeb. Okay, another little scroll up, and Aspina came along and said, whether I have a test or no, sometimes I get wound up all night. In contrast, while my eyes are closed, I review all the lessons that I've been studying. In fact, it happened automatically and rapidly. However, I felt sleep without knowing how. So, let's see. Whether I have a test or not, so not nor, not, sometimes I get wound up all night. In contrast, while my eyes are closed, I review all the lessons that I've been studying. So that would be all the lessons, plural, that I've been studying. In fact, it happens, automatically and rapidly. Then you've got a full stop, so then you'd have a capital H for however. I felt sleep without knowing how. I feel sleepy without knowing how, or I fall asleep without knowing how. Matsu came along and said, Aspina, learning can happen whenever you want. And Zeb said, hi, Apsina. Do you stay up all night when you have a test the next day? I hope not, because you need your sleep, you know. Okay. Let me just see. We've got lots of things about tests now. How do we get onto tests? Amy Bray came along and said, whether I have a test or not, sometimes I'm wound up all night. In contrast, when my eyes are closed, I review all the lessons that I've been studying. In fact, it happens automatically and rapidly, and I fall asleep without knowing this. Okay. Oh, I see. I think Amy's corrected your text, Apsina. Amy, it's as well to let the person know that you've done it. Very nice. I mean, if you want to do more, please step in. Zeb replied to Amy, I've just noticed that your avatar says NSW Fires. Are you part of a fire brigade in Australia, Amy? Alka came along and said, hi, Zeb. And Zeb said, hi, Alka. And Zeb then said, Amy, are you Apsina? And now I've got it. Amy said, "Lol, Zeb, I was just editing Aspinall's writing. The Rural Fire Service saved my area from bushfires last year. It was a major event that made international headlines. Wow. Bushfires hit the news almost every year," said Zeb, "when it's not about flooding. I just remember the fire in Stratty, but it's in QOD, Queensland, not NSW, New South Wales." And Amy... Yeah, this is going to get a bit awkward because Amy wasn't replying. She started a new topic every time. So Amy then said, "Yes, bushfires are normal in Australia. I just joined this site. Are you a member or a moderator, Zeb? I'm actually..." Oh, that's a question. So you'd put a question mark there. "I'm actually a beginning ESL teacher." ESL, by the way, capital E, capital S, capital L. Already a primary school teacher. What about you? You're an ESL teacher in a primary school. Does it mean the kids don't speak much English? Asked Zeb. "I'm a member, but as I'm often around, Lynn, your teacher, offered me to become a moderator." I didn't offer it really. I asked you, begged you, begged me to become a moderator. "This allows me to approve messages that end up in the moderation queue and not directly on this page." And Amy came back. I have to scroll up again. "Actually, I am a primary teacher in a public school who has just recently begun teaching the English language to adults on the weekend." Oh, you must know American English, Amy, on the weekend. I say at the weekend because I'm British, but it's all good. "Teaching adults during the weekend. Wow, that's what I call to be dedicated." Okay, then you'd say, Zeb, "That's what I call dedicated. Please reassure me you will not bother them much about grammar. The Australian accent and lingo are challenging enough." And Zeb carried on saying, Amy came along and said, "What I call dedicated, I'm trying to change my teaching direction. And so far, I find I enjoy teaching adults more than kids." I popped in and said, "Hi, Amy. I salute your bravery for even trying to teach children. That said, adults can have their little quirks too." And really, asked Zeb, "what makes teaching children difficult? Are they too lively?" Alka came along and said, "Hi, Amy. How are you doing?" And Zeb also came along and said, "That surprises me. I mean, as grown up, we are so inhibited sometimes, afraid of speaking, of the mistakes we're going to make, afraid of being clumsy, looking stupid. Kids don't have this kind of inhibition. What makes teaching adults enjoyable?" So here you'd say, "I mean, as grown-ups." Yeah, as grown-ups, so it's inclusive, all of us supposedly grown-up people. You could say, "as a grown-up," which would mean me as a grown-up, or as grown-ups, which would mean everybody. Okay? Amy came along and said, "Well, I'm tired of spending 50% of my time on behaviour management." Oh, yes, that's what puts me off teaching kids. I'm actually very good with kids, but I want something more stimulating. My experience, if teaching adults, shows me that they, okay, little typo there, want to learn. My experience of teaching adults, it is refreshing. Sorry about the spelling errors. I had to change my tablet, so now I'm now using my phone. Haha. Bummer, said Zeb. I missed this reply. These people, they get to hear English all the time, and if I'm not wrong, in Australia people are encouraged to use English and not their native language. What are they looking for when they attend an English class? And I replied and said, I can't use my phone for productive work. That said, it makes a good excuse. Oh, sorry, I was using my phone. And I hope I didn't upset you, Amy, because you didn't come back, but there you go. It's the net. People come and go. Haneen came along and said, hi, my name is Haneen. So Haneen, your name is a capital H, okay? All proper nouns, including your name, capital letter. Then for from Pakistan. So, and, A-N-D, I'm, capital I, apostrophe M, from Pakistan, capital P. I want to learn good English. And English, again, proper noun, capital E, full stop. Hi, Haneen, said Amatsu. Using all the resources on LEN will help you as much as you want. And I said, hi, Haneen, it's all good. Alka came along and said, can you teach me English? Okay, so that's a question, Alka, so you need a question mark at the end, and English with a capital E. Aladdin said, no one can, just you. Yeah, quite right, Aladdin. I agree with you, Aladdin, said Zeb. A bit of help is always appreciated, though. You can't really learn on your own, can you? Some people can, Zeb. I know people who can. But no, I believe that if you're learning a language, you're learning to communicate, and Unless you're going to talk to yourself all the time, you need to communicate in order to do it. Then Susanna Lenchezova came along and said, "Hi, my name is Susanna. I'm from Slovakia and I would like to improve my English." So, Susanna, lovely sentence, but just at the end, capital E for English. Zeb said, "Hi, Susanna. I think that interacting and doing activities in English has no end of good for improving it." Not has no end, does no end of good. It does no end of good in order to improve it, or for improving it would be fine too. And on that note, we've run out of time for this week, so there'll be another recording, and that's all good. I hope you enjoyed listening to the corrections, and tune in next time for the rest of them. If you've been missed off, don't worry, I will get round to it, probably even today. Take care. Thanks for listening. Bye.